timing is everything, right? That's what we hear. It's all about timing, 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 timing. And uh, one of the questions that I often get is when is the right time to invest? If I've got some cash on hand, if I've, got my bonus money, or I've got some stock money, or got some inheritance, you want to be smart, you want to be prudent about investing that money. And so a natural question comes up is when is the right time to invest? And that may seem a little bit more straightforward than what the answer actually requires. Like most things with financial planning, as you've probably noticed if you've listened to any of these videos or read my blog. But let me before I answer that question, let me just give you a story of a client. I remember, and this has happened several times over the years. And I had a client that I met with. Now, this was maybe 2010, 2011, and he was just getting closer to retirement. He actually had delayed retirement because of 2008. 2008 was a clarifying moment for a lot of people with the stock market crash. The stock market lost from the high to the low about over a 18-month period, or a little bit less than that, 14-month period, lost almost 50% in value. So let's put some dollars on that. Let's say you had $1 million invested in the stock market, and in late 2007, by early 2009, you would have had $500,000. So you would have lost, or $500,000 of value would have evaporated. Now, before I go on to the rest of the story, let me just remind you that whenever you're investing, it's healthier to think about the number of shares or the number of units that you own rather than the day to day or the month month value, because as we have seen and as you know, the market will go up and they go down. Investments will go up and go down. They're not guaranteed, right? So back to this client. Well, this is 2010, 2011, and he was sitting pretty much in cash. Now, if you remember from 2010, 2011, cash was earning almost nothing, maybe 1 or 2%, if you lock it up in a CD for 3 or 5 years or something of that nature. And he came to me, and he was finally over the emotional shock of losing significant amount of money from 2008, because he did was not working with me whenever this happened. He sold, probably at the bottom or near the bottom, and then just sat in cash for 3 or 4 years after 2008, 2009. And then was coming to me basically to figure out how he should go about reinvesting his money. Now, whenever that whenever that happened, we started talking, and he was really focused on, is now the right time, is now the right time, is now the right time. And every year, no matter the year, since the beginning of history, there have been things and news and events that are scary and worrisome. The problem is, we as humans have shown it's we are really really bad at predicting the future. One of my favorite Yogi Berra quotes is, he says, making predictions are really difficult, especially about the future. And Yogi Berra was a wise man, and he that whenever it comes to knowing exactly what's going to happen, even if there's some sort of major worrisome event on the horizon, it's impossible to predict. At that time, the big worrisome event was a potential government shutdown, and that sounds scary, and it would be scary. At least we think it would be scary. I don't. There really isn't much history, at least recent history, of around what happens if there was in fact a government shutdown. So this gentleman, smart guy, hard worker, wanted to retire, wanted to start getting some better bang for his buck. He's getting, a piddly 1 or 2% on his cash, maybe even less than that, barely keeping up with inflation, probably losing out to inflation. But he was just paralyzed around the timing of it, and making the wrong decision when it comes to investing his money. And so To help with that, there's three areas that we should think through when it comes to investing a chunk of money. I would say number one is, what's the purpose of the money? What's the purpose of the money? What are you using the money for? If it's just some future thing in the future, you don't really have a specific goal or purpose, that's fine. That's completely fine. But that means that you really don't need the money anytime soon. So let's set aside. You can take the bigger pot of money and let's set aside an amount that makes you feel comfortable. Where, God forbid, the world goes to hell in a handbasket, as they say, and you have some money there, some cash on hand that you can live off of for however many months or years that would make you feel comfortable. And so I've had some clients where that number has been as high as 2 or 3 years worth of cash or cash equivalents in a separate kind of safe account. It's not really earning a lot of money, but it's just what we call sleep at night, or rest easy, have a peaceful night's sleep at night money. So we want to define the purpose of the money. If there is no purpose, then we at least want to define the purpose of some portion of the money as sleep at night money, and the rest maybe could be invested a longer term picture. But if there is a purpose for the money, maybe you're not retired yet, maybe you're 5 years away or 10 years away or what have you, or you're planning to retire sometime in the future. Maybe you want to buy a vacation home, maybe you want to pay for your kids' college. Maybe you want to leave an inheritance. Maybe you want to be able to pay for long-term care. Lots of different things that maybe the money could be used for, but it's important to assign some goal to the value, because then that helps give clarity around the money, rather than just watching the money go up and go down, go up and go down, because your emotions will go up and go down, go up and go down as you watch the money. So that's number one. The second thing that we need to do is, once we have that defined purpose, we have that defined need, we need to figure out, okay, when is that going to be? When is that going to be? Is it going to be next year? Is it going to be 3 years from now? Is it going to be 20 years from now? Or again, if it's kind of in that first scenario that I gave you of like, you don't really have a set purpose, you're just wanting to be a good steward of your resources, you're wanting the money to grow for the future, whether you may need it or maybe leave it to the kids or something of that nature. We still need to understand the time frame, or try to at least understand the time frame of, is it at least maybe 5+ years away. And the reason I say 5+ years away is there's lots of research out there that shows the stock market, and again, you're probably not going to be invested all in the stock market. I mean, some people will be, but not everyone, and most people probably shouldn't be invested all in the stock market because the timing of things. Anyways, maybe it's 5 years or more away. Well, that then gives us an appropriate time frame and an understanding of potential outcomes. With investing, again, we cannot predict the future, but we can understand what has happened historically over the past 100+ years of the market, and be able to then make predictions from there, or make I guess not predictions, but make educated guesses, so to speak, of the how long of a time do we have, and how long may it take for us to regain the value of our investment should things not go the way we want them to. Because typically, if you're invested over a 5 year period, there might be one or two times, maybe a handful of times over the past 100+ years, where over a 5 year rolling period you would have lost money. Probably Great Depression, and 2008, 2009 timeframe, when that's in there, 2000s, early 2000s, or a few that I can think of off the top of my head. But really, it's a low percentage of time. So, but the odds are of making money, and usually when you're making money in the stock market, for example, it doesn't have to be just a stock market, but this is just an example. If you're making money in the stock market, then you could, in essence, be potentially earning, double-digit returns possibly. And so the prospect of earning versus the prospect of losing, the chances of winning, so to speak, are much greater, maybe 97, 98% versus 2%. So you have to decide, okay, we know over a 5 year period that things look like pretty good, even if we do have a 1 or 2 years that may be bad. So understanding the time frame will help continue to paint that picture of calming your nerves as you think about how to go about your investment process and when's the right time to invest the money. And the third thing is, what's the expected risk return ratio, right? We want to understand both the risks. Where does this thing go wrong? How does it go bad? And what's the potential return as well? And are those is that a risk return trade off that you're willing to take? Because if you want to invest in a more risky asset, you or an asset that maybe would return more, you're going to have also more potential risk. And so you have to understand if you're looking at investing something, if you want to invest now or in the future, the timing of it is often going to be associated with the risk return trade off. And so you have to understand that because the investment strategy that you choose, doesn't have to be individual stocks. There's a wide spectrum of investment options out there, from very, very aggressive to very, very conservative and everything in between. And so we want to understand what's a risk reward trade off, because that may help also give you some piece around the timing of investing. And so once we have those three factors, of course, there's more factors included in it. Then you can go and say, all right, well, I feel comfortable investing the money now because I don't need the money for 10 years, and I understand the ebbs and flows of it, and I'm going to make smart risk reward trade-offs. And so so that eases your mind of investing the money now. And the honest answer is that we never really know. For the only way we know for sure if it was a good time to invest is by having actually done the investing and looking back. Just think about all the times in your life where you think, oh, you had this idea, oh, I should have done this, or I should have done that, or I came up with the idea for the internet, or I don't know, something right like that, right? Well, lots of times we have thoughts of maybe we should have done this or should have done that, but we didn't take action on it and we missed out. So that is certainly a possibility when it comes to investing. And so no decision is a decision, as they say. And so we want to understand, if you want to invest money, you think that it's a prudent approach to do so under the constraints that we put on it. And now is probably as good of a time as ever, because typically, historically, investments go up over time. Now, of course, they can go down, and they can go down harshly. And the timing would be unfortunate if you put money in and it drops substantially. But again, it's only dropped for that, maybe 6 month or 1 year, 2 year or 3 year time frame, however long it is. But if you expand your view of looking at the time from a 6 month window to now I'm looking at a 10 year or a 15 year window or longer, you're not really worried about the day-to-day fluctuations. And so I hope that helps paint a picture of when's the right time to invest the money, and to help you think through it more than just saying, today, right? I mean, today is probably a decent day, again, because odds are over time the investments do increase more often than not, but again, they can go down. So that is always the trade-off, right? So well, I hope you enjoyed this video. If you like it, please subscribe. I do post videos on a regular basis on around these type of financial planning, investments, retirement, tax strategy topics. And you can also, if you're reading on the blog, thanks for reading on the blog, newellwm.com. I hope you enjoyed this. I hope you have a great day and take good care.